So we're going to start with Google Maps today. I have a terrible, terrible sense of direction. So Google Maps saves me a lot. I get lost very easily. So we're going to look at Google Maps for a second. If you already use it, then there might be a couple features on here that you haven't seen before. If not, if you already use it and you know all these things, it'll just be a little bit of a refresher. But if you don't use Google Maps, it can be super helpful, both with finding new locations near you, getting directions, sending directions to other people. So it's got a lot of uses. So let me go ahead and bring it up. So we're going to look at Google Maps on my phone because it's likely that that's how you'll be using Google Maps. When we switch over to Google Earth, we'll look at it on my laptop just because it's a little easier to see. Okay. So I'm going to go to my home screen. And if you have an Android phone, if you have a phone that is directly connected to Google for a lot of things, you probably have Google Maps in your phone already. But if you want to look it up on the Play Store or on your App Store, again, you just go to where your App Store is. So we're going to find the Play Store for me. I just scrolled over. All right, and you see it's this one down at the bottom that we've gone to for our apps before. We're going to go there and just type in Google Maps. And if you already have it and it's saved somewhere on your phone, it'll tell you that when you look it up. So if it says open, that means you've already got it on your phone somewhere. So I'm going to go ahead and say open. If you didn't have that, you could go ahead and download it, and then it would show up in your app. So I'm going to open it. We're just going to mess around with this a little bit. Generally speaking, if you have location turned on your phone, when you get into Google Maps, it'll show you generally where you are. It'll show you the sort of neighborhood. It'll start with the neighborhood around your current location, right? Which is doing right now anyway. I just didn't want to put my house address on here. What you'll see here is a general sort of map of, you'll see a couple things pop up here. So there'll be, like some different restaurants. There'll be a variety of things populated on there already. You'll be able to see parks and stuff like that. So let me show you a couple things that you can do with this. So we're just going to look at East Harlem, right? The first thing I want to show you is just how you can sort of explore the neighborhood a little bit. These are places you probably know already, but just to look. So let's say we're in East Harlem and we want to see where some restaurants are. You see this button up here where it says restaurants? We can click on that. All right, and what it should do is populate our map with some restaurant choices here. So we can see information about them. We can see reviews. Okay, so we're just scrolling down here. And if we look on the map itself, we're going to go back to the map, scroll down there. We can see what we're close to. Okay, so let's say I'm here and I want to go to Lachula. So we can get some information on that. We can see some of the reviews. We can see their business hours and their menu. So this is a good way to check out a place before you go there, get some ideas of places you might want to visit, restaurants. You could say that you are looking for, go back and see some other categories. You say you want to find grocery stores. You can hit groceries here and you'll find a number of different grocery stores in our area. So this is a good way to just sort of see the layout of the land. And East Harlem, but if you go to another neighborhood, let's say, we want to go to, let's say, Washington Heights. We can do the same thing. It'll focus in on locations in Washington Heights. And then we can go in there and look at restaurants, some groceries, parks, coffee. So you can do this anywhere that you are, or you can look up a place that you're not in right now. So you could look up somewhere, like you could look up somewhere in New Jersey, you could look up somewhere across the world. But that's just that'll give you a general idea of what's going to pop up on your map when you see that, or when you choose one of these categories. You can even search for a specific business. So this is what I'm going to do right now. I'm going to search for the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center, which is where SMART's offices are. So East Harlem Neighborhood, you'll see it pops up here. So Neighborhood Health Action Center. All right, so it's going to show me, ta-da, that's where the Neighborhood Health Action Center is. Okay, So it'll give me the ability to call them from here. It'll give us the address. So if we're looking for any particular location, just go to your search bar and look up the name of that place itself. So that's what we just did to get the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. Again, so that's just this search bar up here at the top. So let's say we are at the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center and we want somebody to meet us there, right? And they've never been there before, but we want to give them a real specific sense of, we just want to give them the address so they know exactly where they're going. So we're going to go back to the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. And once we're here on the entry for it, you see these 3 dots in the top right-hand corner. We're going to click on those and we're going to say share place. Okay. And when we do that, let's say, I wanted to send this to one of my friends. I would hit the text message button. And let's say, but just hit that and then you can text it directly to somebody and they'll get that information. So they'll directly get this entry that shows where it is. So that can be really helpful if you're trying to describe where you're meeting someone or you're trying to give somebody a location, is to just send it to them via text. So let's look at, this is what I use it the most for, is directions. Okay. I'm going to open it back up. So let's say that I am at the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. Okay. And I decide that I want to go to the Union Square Green Market. I want to go get some vegetables. All right. So I'm going to click on this button that says directions. Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to switch these because I'm going to be starting from the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. So you see these little, let me show you here. There are these little 2 buttons. They're the arrows on the side here. That'll switch your location. So I'm going to go from the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. So you see how that popped up from to our start location when we hit that arrow button. So we're going to go from the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center to Union Square. I'm going to say the Union Square Green Market because I specifically want to go there. So you'll see that's like the 4th one down. I'm going to click on that. And what it's going to do is it's going to generate directions for me from like all different modes of transportation, right? So if we look on this, you'll see the little icon. So that first one's going to be driving directions. Okay. So if we were driving, that's how we would do it. So it's got, and if you click down here, it'll give you a step-by-step with pictures of how to get to this location. This is for public transportation. So it's going to give me the subway. One of the things that's really helpful about that is that if there's subway changes, if there's something shut down, this is very up to the minute, or it should be. I've had good luck with relying on the subway directions and bus directions for this because it's updated in real time. So let's say, like the 6th was like delayed due to construction or something, they'll give you an alternate route and they'll tell you what the fastest route is right now. You can see walking directions. Okay, that's what that little walking person is. This person with their hand up in there, that generally like Lyft or Uber. I think you can select Uber on here too. So if you use Lyft or Uber, that'll give you that information. One that I use a lot is the biking directions. Those are really helpful for me because me and Les bike a lot. So if I was going to the Union Square Green Market, you'll see there's 2 routes here. So that blue one's going to be the fastest one. Okay. This other one is going to be a possibility for me too. The gray one on the left. So if I clicked on that, it would give me that route as a possibility. You've probably heard these things that are like where it's rerouting. So if you start going in a different direction, it'll start changing the directions based on where you are. So if I started going, far west and then decided, oh, I still want to go to Union Square, it'll in real time, it'll update the directions based on my location. So that's how you would get directions. And so let's say, I got those bike directions and I wanted to send the directions themselves to somebody so they know how to get there. I can also share the directions the same way that I shared the locations before. So just say share directions. It'll give you the option to text them to somebody. So that's an easy way to sort of share instructions for how to get somewhere. I generally think that that is really helpful, because if someone asks me for directions otherwise, I will not give them the right information because my sense of direction is very bad. So if I can look it up on Google Maps and send it to somebody, that's a much more surefire way for me to get that right. Oh, the other thing you can do, just to, if you go somewhere on a regular basis, so let's say I'm going to the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center a lot. What I can do is I'm going to click on it when I see it, click on the red, and I'm going to actually go down and save it. So if you scroll over on this thing where it says directions call directory, you'll see something that says save. And if you save something, you can put it in one of your menus. So I actually have a couple of different things. I have the bars that we use for MPV outreach. I have some starred places from when we've gone on our trip to Florida. You can do it just like in your favorite, and then you'll have it saved in there. You can write a little note about it if you want to. Okay, so that saves that location for you. So in the future, if you go to look it up, or if you want to just jump directly to it, you can go into your saved list. All right, and you can set it up to where that'll actually just be starred on your map. So if you want to see these things, you can go to your saved places down here at the bottom, that little flag, and you'll see East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. Click there and it'll take us directly there. So if you have places that you go on a regular basis and you may need directions to, or you just want to have them all saved in one spot, that's an easy way to do it. I want to switch over to Google Earth, which is just kind of fun, right? I'm going to look at it in my browser. You can download this as an app on your phone, or you can download it actually as an app on your laptop or tablet as well. There's one called Pro. I think Pro at this point is free, but there might be things that you have to pay for along the way. We're just dealing with the free version right now, okay? So if you just look up Google Earth, what you'll get is, it'll be the first thing that comes up. So we're just going to say explore Google Earth, and you can say earth.google.com is what you want to put in. And what you'll see is the world. So what Google Earth is it's kind of like it's a sort of almost real-time map. So there are pictures on here that come from satellite. There are pictures that come from, if you've ever seen one of the Google cars driving around it's got the 3D camera on it. They actually take pictures of every street or every major street in the world, so that we can have views like what's being used on Google Maps as well. So it's just so that there is imagery for all different parts of the world, which is really kind of cool. So it's also, you can click on things and see people's pictures from various places as well. But this is sort of a compendium of satellite images, of street view picture for places all over the world. And depending on how populated a place is, or how sort of accessible the roads are and stuff, there may be more data for some places than others. So like there's a lot of pictures for New York City. There might not be as many pictures for somewhere that's more rural, right? But just to check this out. So real basically, you've got some controls here. So you've got the globe here, and we're in the sort of zoomed out view right now so that we can see the whole Earth. If you want to zoom in, these are your two little tools right here, the plus and the minus. So we're zooming in. You can drag, and you can all do this all on your phone too. Just you'll be using like your fingers as opposed to the mouse. But you can sort of drag this around, see things from above. So let's say we want to look at the Neighborhood Health Action Center from here. Okay, so I'm going to type in Health Action Center. There it is. I looked it up earlier, so here it is. So what it's going to do is it's going to fly us down. Ooh, it's doing that on its own to the East Harlem Neighborhood Health Action Center. And I have this in 3D view right now, which is why you can see the buildings sort of rising up. So this is the neighborhood. You can probably see things that look familiar to you, right? And this is, I believe that this should be actually a pretty current satellite image. Once you get down into street view, which I'll show you in a minute, those images can be can be up to like 2 years old. But this should be pretty current, okay? It's kind of wild. So, okay, that's seeing it from above, and we can see, it's got some other landmarks marked here. So a couple churches, this is a Success Academy. So let's say we want to actually get in closer here. So what we're gonna do, if you go over here to your little controls right here, you're gonna click on this one that looks like a little person, and it says select or drag and drop to enter street view. So we're gonna take it and we're gonna drag and drop it right in front of the Neighborhood Health Action Center. And what that means is we want to see the view from right there, okay? And you'll see we're kind of facing the wrong direction, but look, we can drag this over and there it is. So this is an image that was taken from one of those Google cars going around with their 3D cameras. So you can do this for just about anywhere, especially in the city, and you'll get a pretty accurate representation of the place itself. And then you'll see too, we're going to swivel around here, that if you click on these arrows, you see these arrows, you can start actually sort of moving down the street. So you can go on a little sort of tour as well. This can be helpful too. These images help to make the pictures that go with the Google Maps instructions, right? So if you were following directions to go to a particular location and you have these screenshots, that's where this is coming from. So you can see what it looks like to see if you're in the right place. But this is just kind of a cool way to look around your neighborhood or other neighborhoods. And you can, like on Google Maps, you can also save this location. So we've got this, and that just flew us back out to be up here again. So you can say add to project, and you can just make a new folder where you save these. So if you have like a couple things that you like to you'd like to keep a handle on, like maybe it's somewhere you lived before and you want to see what it looks like again. Or maybe it's somewhere that you want to visit and you want to see what it looks like. You can put, various locations in these projects. So let's look at Paris just for fun. So let's look at the Eiffel Tower. I'm sure we've got plenty of stuff with the Eiffel Tower. So yeah, I'm gonna start typing in Eiffel Tower and look, it pops up. So in Paris, France. So watch, it's gonna fly us from East Harlem, whoop, to Paris. Again, that's this doing it on its own. And there is the Eiffel Tower. Pretty cool, huh? So let's say we want to get in there and look at it from the ground view. So I'm going to click again on my little person here, and I'm going to put down, let's say we want this view right here. So I'm going to put them over here, and it's going to swoop down in. Oh, look, it's an actual person. See, it's also populated with pictures that other people have taken. So we're going to swirl around. There it is. So that's going to take us there. We can see it from various locations. If we want to swoop back out, we're going to hit that street view again. And let's say we want to just go to a random street here to see what it looks like. There's something here. So we're going to go, you can also just click on these blue areas. So the blue areas are anywhere that there is street image views for. So anywhere you click on these blue areas, you should get an image of what the street looks like there. We're going to go to this intersection right here, see what it looks like. Right. And then if we click and hold and swipe around, we can see all around us. So that's all the 3D imaging here that allows us to do that. So that's just something that's fun to play with. I think it's interesting to look at like maybe places you visited before and see what they look like on here, places you don't know what they look like. So just play around with that. It's a lot of fun. And again, you can put it on your phone as well. I'm just doing it on here because it's the easiest to see, I think. Google Earth does have some games on it too. It's got all sorts of things. Oh, another thing that you can do, this is kind of interesting, and who knows what's going to pop up right now. This There's a thing in the menu of this that looks like a little die, like dice, and it's this thing called I'm feeling lucky, and it just takes you to a random location, which is kind of interesting. I don't know where we're going. It is taking us to a commune in France. So this is just if you wanna just play around and see a random location, you can hit that dice and it'll show you that die and it'll show you something new, and it could be anything really. I did it earlier and I got somewhere in Ohio. So if you go to this thing that looks like an what is it called? A navigation wheel on a boat. It can show you these great hikes around the world. These are all nature things, so it can show you time lapses, changing forests, and it can show you stuff about climate change. These are all different sort of like curated tours. You can go to game and it'll ask you questions. You can take quizzes about archaeological sites, about musical instruments of the world, lakes of the world. So you can learn a lot from here too. And then too, just you can go through and look at these different, so there's information about culture and it'll show you the location of the places that it's talking about. So it's a good just sort of place to learn a little bit more about different places in the world. And then there's education resources as well. A lot of this has to do with math, which is kind of interesting, and history. So if you want to learn a little bit based on locations, it'll give you sort of like a tour of these places and give you information about them as well. Okay. So a lot to explore there. And I want to do a little bit of that myself because I definitely haven't used it to its full potential yet.